Hey Wargamers, this is Doug with 2 Plus Stuff, and I'm trying something a little new. This is for kind of events I have going on forward where I wanted to experiment by having people on the show, recording stuff like that. So I'm just doing an experimental run right now. So don't think anything too of it. Basically, I didn't get a chance to do a While You're Reforging episode earlier today, and so it's kind of a bummer. It's just really limited by what I can do with the technology at my disposal and things like that. So that's kind of what's going on there. And everything else is just me kind of testing stuff. So what I'm basically going to do is just pretend that I'm doing a While You're Reforging and just kind of play around with things. So if things seem strange or the feed cuts out, be sure to let me know, because that'll be very important to me. So like I said, a few of you just hopped on now. This is an experiment doing a live feed. So if something cuts out or stops working, please just like make it a note, tell me in the chat if you can see me and everything's working okay. So I'm going to go down, flip the camera down and start painting some models, and go ahead and ask questions if you can. It says here, let's see. Looks like the chat's working. I assume it is. Somebody write a chat there and tell me if it's working or not. and we'll get cracking on this. So, like I said, let me point the camera down here. All right, and this is really as fancy as it gets in the Griggs household. Okay. All right, so we are sitting here painting. Let me see what I'm painting on. Let's see, we're going to need some Celestia Gray. And I think we'll start there for right now. It's going to take a lot of gray to make this happen. So, okay. All right. So whenever I do a While You're Reforging, I always start off by pretty much just saying what I'm working on. So if you're new, I play a game called Age of Sigmar, because I know these things kind of broadcast to everyone on YouTube, basically. I play a game called Age of Sigmar, which is a miniatures game where you build and paint cool scale models, and you use them to play board games, basically. And it's an incredible amount of fun. It's the kind of thing, it's almost, if you're familiar with the idea like D&D or any kind of role-playing thing, it's very similar to that. What I'm working on today is a kit-bashed sorcerer lord. So just like an evil sorcerer guy that I put together with various model kits. So basically, even though he's black, I want to paint him with a white robe underneath. You can see, let me see if I can get a good angle on him for you here. You can see this little robe he's wearing underneath. So I'm going to paint that white, and yeah, we'll get cranking on that. So if you are not used to painting white over black, GW Games Workshop, the main company who makes the game, suggests doing a layer of Celestia Gray. I believe that's what it's called. Isn't that what it's called? Yeah. Yeah, it's a great foundation paint, meaning it's easy to build colors off of. So yeah, once it dries, we'll do a second coat here, but it gives us a good, just kind of move away from black in terms of like the color spectrum. So yeah, let's see here. So after I go over kind of what I've been doing, I tend to talk about games that I played recently. And I did play a game. I played, actually I was a guest on a awesome YouTube channel called Rerolling Ones. My buddy Mark, he's the one who runs the channel, and then our good friends Brent and sorry, I almost said Zach. Jack, who is awesome, help out and contribute to battle reports and things like that. We all kind of have our own little thing that we do. Mine is obviously Age of Sigmar lore. I contribute in that way. The other guys are, well, Brent and Jack are very good at the game. I mean, just good at the game itself. whereas me and Mark are a little more fluff bunny focused, which is a-okay. So I'm just wrapping up my bottom layer here. I haven't seen anything in the chat. If you could leave something in the chat, just so I know it's working. It says it is group chat right there, but it's not showing me anything. Oh, you know what? That's probably like my internal group and not comments on the video. Ooh, that would be annoying. Okay, I gotta figure that one out. So I'm pretty sure this is how like Vince Venturella does his show, like where he invited me to an interview, basically a Google Hangout, which is what it looks like on my end. And we did have an internal thing there. Okay. Like I said, this is an experiment. Me trying to figure this all out. It's not letting me see any more apps though. Nope. It's doing something weird. Okay, I don't think I lost it. Right on. Okay. So I'm just going to keep on painting. I'm going to assume it's going to work. And then at the end of it, if I just talk to myself for an hour, that's okay too. I do it all the time. Get some more Silvestre Gray in here. This is going to bug me. There's got to be a way to see the YouTube messages. Okay. I don't know. It's not showing me anything. So if you're trying to comment to me, I can't see it, unfortunately, which is a bummer. I'm going to figure that one out. Just painting off a custom Sorcerer Lord guy. With these guys, I don't want the armor to be white. I found that painting white armor haunting. Instead, I really enjoyed like white like robes and things like that. So that's kind of what I've gone for. I really love the idea of bad guys wearing white. To me, that is the greatest thing. I don't know why. I love when bad guys seem more complex than they are. And so kind of like the idea of the anti-hero, but just having a bad guy who does bad things, but for, in their mind, good reasons, I think makes for very good storytelling and very good villain writing. The 40K character Ahriman, he's a very bad dude, but does his things for very, in his mind, very good reasons. And it just makes him a very compelling character to read about. Okay, I'm sorry. I got distracted by the YouTube stuff. So games played. I did play a game, and it was, like I said, on Rerolling Ones. I'm not going to go into it because it's actually being released tomorrow, and I don't want to spoil. I don't want to steal Mark's thunder. So yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with it, Path of Glory is kind of like an escalation system where you basically randomly pick your army. Not many units involved, but yeah. So you'll just pick a hero. So, for example, if I pick the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, it'll tell you how many choices you get of units after that. You can roll randomly for them or pick them, and from there, it's just a matter of picking the things that make sense to you or rolling for them randomly. We decided to roll for them because we all have armies, and we just wanted to do something a little different to make it more fun. I can see that the view count is ticking up, and that's awesome. It seems to be working. What's not working for you folks that are new is chat. I just got a text from a buddy, said he's trying to message me, but it's just not working. I can't see it yet. So we will figure that one out at some point. Okay, that looks like a gauntlet, not skin. Okay. How do you do this? Oopa. At a certain point, I'm just kind of pushing things. Okay, here's an app called Cameraman. Share screen. I do not want to share screen. You don't want to see what I see. It's annoying as all get out. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. No, I'm just going to let it lie right now, and I'll try to figure out the comments thing later. I know there is a way to do this on the main YouTube page where I can like see obviously like active comments and things like that and have a chance to just kind of catch your questions and stuff like that. But for some reason, it's just being a turd, and it will not let me do it any other way. So I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to let that go now. And what I think is going to happen is that when I'm done recording this, it'll just become an episode. At least that's how it happens for Sir Vince Ventrella, I believe. So we're just going to let that little dog lie. And I'm just going to keep on painting. So yeah, I had a game. Can't talk about it because I want to ruin it for Mark. As far as other stuff going, there's a little hair on him. As far as other stuff going on, that's the only game that I played this week. And it was an absolute blast. I feel bad about how it went. That's kind of a spoiler, but it was a ton of fun. I have found it just kind of reinvigorated my love for the Slaves to Darkness. And that's important. I honestly, what happens is I love an army for a while, and then I stop playing it for a while, or I have a few bad games, like bad experiences. Not bad games per se. This hasn't happened in a while, but mostly with 40K, it's happened where I've had a few bad gaming experiences, and it puts a bad taste in my mouth. I don't enjoy the army as much, and so. That hasn't happened for these Slaves to Darkness. Every time I play with them, I just have a blast, and I always learn from my games, which I think is kind of the biggest thing. I think because they're so, I'll say vanilla, like they don't have a shtick, they're not great at anything other than just being there. I really feel like, oh, this list I was lacking in shooting. Okay, I felt that one. Whereas other games, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to tell like what your list is missing, but because everything's missing from Slaves to Darkness as a base, I don't feel like it's hard to tell, right? I know exactly what I'm missing. I'm missing shooting, magic, which is strange because it's also a Tzeentch Slaves to Darkness. I just don't take a lot of wizards, which needs to change. Yeah, Tzeentch change. Yeah, that's basically it. So that's why I've enjoyed them. Every game I have with them, I walk away with a rewarding experience. I really do, and that's been important for me. Paint a little dagger on this guy, just a happy little dagger. So, yeah, those are the kind of moments that I look for when I'm playing a game. Just like, okay, did I lose? Yes. Okay, that's cool. Why did I lose? Because if I can't quantify why I lost, that's when I get frustrated. Or if I feel like I didn't have a chance. I played the Stormcast Vanguard wing where like it has like a bajillion shooters and stuff like that. That one was not terribly fun to play against just because it stomped me so hard into the dirt. So, yeah. Let me see here. I'm just messaging a friend here just to see if everything's working on their end. back onto the model here. What I'm going for with this guy, I took a bunch of parts from obviously the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, but in addition to that, I did the he has a whatever the flying guys from. Oh, thank you, Brent, for clarifying. He sent me a message saying it's working. Sent me a. So I have the head of the flying guys from Dark Eldar. I can't remember what they're called. Scourges, is that what they are? And then the back kind of spike thing from an Archaeon, which is pretty great. Let's see here. Yes, I'm sorry. Brent just messaged me and said that he's letting people know that comments aren't working. I'm still kind of working this out. This is my initial one where I'm like tinkering for some reason and opened it up as a Google Hangout and not like a stream thing where I can actually like interact with you. So I'm going to work with that. But I figured since I didn't put a piece of content out this Wednesday for WYR Reforging, this is kind of an ad hoc thing I'm just kind of throwing together. So I'm just going to let it go, record it, we'll save it, and then next time we'll figure it out for real skis. And I appreciate everyone's patience. Like, honestly, like when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm an old man. I've been asking like 30 people about how computers work so I can like get this upgraded one that we've been saving for. Because I am the old man who walks around Best Buy and just kind of stares at things. So let's see here. In case you're marveling at my incredible ability to organize my paints, I have this giant bin, which you can buy at pretty much any wholesale supply store for about $2.99 because it's a piece of garbage. And I can't find anything. That's the real value of it, you know? It's the joy you get in searching for things that you'll never find. I think that's really where the value of it pops in. Let's see here. I'm just going to grab a bunch of the stuff that I know I'm going to be using. Triad bark. And Obaton bark. Okay. And we're in. Okay. Gonna throw some Rakarth flesh down and get that skin painted. You ever have those models where it's kind of hard to tell if it's like his hand or a gauntlet? Because he has like spiky ass fingers, but I think it's a gauntlet. It looks like a gauntlet. Okay, we're gonna skip the flesh on the hands then. Just put that right in my silver, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. Wow, up to 11 viewers. That's pretty good for a random just start painting thing. I'm hoping to do this a little more regularly. Certainly when I get a new rig, it's definitely going to be a thing. The main limiting factor has just been that I can't process videos in the background while filming them because my computer's processor like wants to explode when I do that. And we like the processor. We need it to be happy until I replace it. Yeah, so that's coming out okay. I'm gonna hit the pages with the Rakarth flesh. For some reason, I don't know if it's like a holdover from when I watched Evil Dead as a kid, like the Necronomicon. I love when books have like skin tone pages. I don't know if y'all have seen that one. That's an old movie. Oh man, I think they remade it though. I think with the magic of modern Hollywood, they were able to destroy everyone's 80s happy memories. Okay, so actually, there was a topic I wanted to talk about. Daughters of Cain. Now that it's all said and done, Daughters of Cain week is over. I appreciate everyone's immense amount of patience. Kind of give you guys an update who have were so generous and just to say like thank you and give well wishings. Unfortunately, the cat, yeah, we had to put him down. We loved him very much. He was actually a wedding gift to us, so it meant a lot for everyone's support. My wife ended up not losing her job, which is a huge blessing. I'm eternally grateful for that. It was just a scary time, you know, and then she's already started looking for another place. Like, it was a good motivator. But, you know, the best time to search for a new job is when you already have one, as many people say. So she was just grateful that she didn't have the rug pulled out from underneath her. and is now having a more calm search for employment somewhere else. Her job's been good to her. It's just, I'm just going to move on. They're not a stable company. As many of you mature guys who are very, very mature and kind in your answers, responses pointed out your maturity. So I think that's really awesome. Yeah. So as far as my direction right now with these guys, I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I want to go towards more Zinchi stuff. I have a Gaunt Summoner down there. I did the where is it? The thing I saw online where the guy cut the top fin, like the big fin ears that were over here, like the rabbit ears, off the Gaunt Summoner. And I love it because I love the face with no eyes. I just think that's the creepiest, coolest thing. So he's going to be obviously a very important model to me. But for right now, I'm kind of torn because I want Zinchi stuff. On the flip side, with the Path of Glory things, that's definitely Slaves to Darkness is what I'm focusing on. I just found out today from Brent, who's my ad hoc moderator, apparently, that you can, when you're playing Path of Glory, you can roll on any table that is in your Grand Alliance. So even though I'm playing Slaves to Darkness, I can roll on the Disciples of Zinch table and get horrors and things like that, which is very exciting because I put a lot of work into my little horror guys. I say a lot of work. I banged them out really quickly because I just used a wash, but I think they look super cool. So I might do that. Demons are one of those things that I didn't ever expect them to grow on me like they have. Whereas today I was looking up kind of not with an intent to play, but generally looking up 40K games with Zinch Demons just to see how they play. And I'm actually surprised. There's almost no dedicated Zinch content online. For as much as I hear everyone complain about it, there's not a lot out there actually. And I'm not sure why that is. And so I actually want to change that. I have a Zinch week coming up. I've already recorded a few videos worth of audio for that. And yeah, I mean, that would be exciting just because, yeah, I got several requests in videos. Like I said, I read all the comments and things like that. And that is an accurate statement. I do. I can't respond to all of them. But a lot of people are just dying for zine stuff just because it doesn't exist. And when you Google search, if you get more specific, the harder it is, obviously, to find stuff. So finding stuff on Zinch isn't the easiest, but finding stuff on Zinch Demon specifically, well, everyone just takes what are they called? The Skyfires. So it makes it really hard if you have something specific that you're excited about. I have no interest in Zangors. I don't know why. The models just don't strike me. But yeah, so that's definitely going to be coming. So that'd be nice to kind of add something to the community that's definitely not there. I'm tired. I find it exhausting. I say I'm tired. I find it exhausting to ride the hype train. So it was exhausting to do Daughters of Cain stuff when everyone and their mom's talking about Daughters of Cain. Whereas I'd much rather just go back and fill some of the voids in content that we have. I still don't think there's enough Bloodbound content. I think not Bloodbound, but what are they called? Blades of Corn. I think that book, because we had such a huge year of Corn beforehand, I think when they actually took the time to go back and make Corn the way I think it was originally supposed to be in AOS, with Bloodbound and Slaves to Darkness and Demons all combined into one. I don't think that got nearly as much press as it should have. And I definitely want to take some time to talk about it because it's a super cool book. I'm just reaching in here with the black. Getting all these parts. Yeah. Coming up here pretty soon, because I did figure out how to go, this far. This will allow me to do live interviews, which I'm very excited about. I interviewed one of my patrons because that's if you give at the whatever the highest level is, you basically become what I consider like an associate producer. Like you help the show immensely. And so we'll do an interview together. Well, me and Andrew did a great show, well, a great hangout together. We just sat and talked. He was painting some Seraphon, I believe, some skinks, I think. And I was just chilling, painting Chaos Warriors, I think. But I couldn't figure out how to record it because if you don't know this, in the back end of YouTube, there's different ways of doing streaming. So I'm doing the group thing. There's a way to do it where you get comments. So I got to figure all that out. But point is, interviews unlocked because I figured this part out. So that is super exciting. I'm going to keep this guy pretty simple, actually. Black armor, gold trim, and then white robes underneath. I don't have a name for him yet. That's actually something I worked on just today, actually. For the first time, like I've always named heroes, but I never named units. And in Path of Glory, they, like the little roster thing has like a name for each unit. And Jack, who is a friend of the show, friend of me, and generally awesome person, is in the Path of Glory doing corn. And if you watch Rerolling Ones, you'll see his corn stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. He named his unit, so I was like, well, I can't be outdone by Jack. That's the worst. And so I went ahead and named him. I like the idea of these kind of tragic figures who were once good guys and then turned to chaos for various reasons. To that end, my hero, his name is Valrus. He is the Justicar of the Burning Seas, which is a region from Akshi, Realm of Fire. And basically, he was a good guy to the bitter end until he saw Sigmar retreat back into Azir, felt abandoned, and then realized that the stagnation of the Order armies was never going to win, that they were always going to let him and his people down. And the only way to survive is to embrace change and become adaptable. And so that's why he became a devotee of Tzeentch. And so his kingdom on, well, when he was a good guy, I should say, not on Earth, but when he was a good guy, was marked by being a just person. Like he was a great person concerned with law and order. So to reflect that, his title is Justicar, even though he's a Chaos Lord, or Chaos Sorcerer Lord. And all of the unit names, this is kind of where I'm bringing this back to, are justice related. So like my Marauders, who are a bunch of nobodies, are the witnesses. I think I put like a suffix at the end there, like witnesses of blank, but I can't remember what the suffix was. And the Knights are the Hammers of Judgment. I rolled for a Dark Oath Chieftain, and he is a prosecutor. We have a Stormcast player, Brent, in our Path of Glory, but I highly doubt we'll be confused with prosecutors, the unit. So yeah, just kind of sticking with those kind of vaguely legal terms, related to law and order, because I think it's a good definer for, I don't know, it's just jarring when bad guys have good guy or typically good guy things associated with them. So yeah, that is my backstory to my Chaos Warband for Path of Glory. And I've toyed with the idea of like, I've seen it done on some channels like that, where like every game fits into a larger story. Like even if you're just playing a one-off game with a buddy, the person narrating things or kind of guiding the battle report will like spin it into be part of like his personal army's backstory. And sometimes you do it really well, and some people don't do it so hot. So that one's just kind of a touch and go. Like we'll see. If it's something I can easily write backstories for, I'd love to do it. If it gets difficult and sounds clunky, yeah, I'll probably pass. So I don't have a name or a role for this gentleman yet. I just want him to be cool. Just want to be cool, man. But yeah, okay, we got some gold around. I decided to kind of keep things different. All the heroes are, like, all their trim is gold, whereas all the base dudes, their trim is in brass, so it's a little bit darker. But I find the tones don't clash very much, and so you'll get this cool thing where like the heroes stand out because that kind of tint higher gleam, if you know what I mean. And I think you do. So that kind of helps kind of separate the army, but also keep it somewhat uniform. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm looking at it on the screen right now. See if you can see it. I'm gonna do his hair next. I'm thinking of doing something. I don't know how I want to do the hair. I thought about doing like the same kind of warp flamey type thing, like I saw. I don't know if you saw these guys. These are my flamers here. That kind of light blue kind of warp flame on his spine. Like that could probably show you a little better. For his hair, which I thought would be kind of cool. So let's just do that. That sounds kind of cool. Sounds different. And different is cool to me. Lay down our little foundation of Celestar Gray. I need a little more. Thought I could make by with what I had on my palette, but nope. Yeah, so I actually just recorded and am processing. I just finished processing, I should say, the Start Collecting box for Stormcast Vanguard. I'm surprised how much I like that box. So if you don't know, when I first started the channel, I had Stormcast Eternals. I actually had quite a few of them. And the army didn't play the way that I like to play. I am definitely all about like hoardy units. I love when the battlefield is just flooded. That's like in any game that I played, that has been my strategy. Like in War Machine, played Crix for a while, and I just spammed a bunch of cheap, guys who were easy to kill. But you had so many of them that you just literally couldn't handle how many dudes I was throwing at you. Which in that game was a very viable strategy. Did very well for me. Yeah, I mean, so it's just my thing. So that's actually what intrigued me about Tzeentch, is because basically just the horrors. I love the fact that the horrors can split almost to infinity as long as you have points for them. And I'm actually fine with the whole points for stuff like that. Some people get really uppity when they have to pay for new units, stuff like that. I am generally on the thought that I get what I pay for with them. Though that's kind of always been my thought. Is like I don't have a problem paying for blue horrors and what are the little guys? Brimstones, flamers. Whatever the little flame guys are. As long as I get what I paid for, and I just so many other units when it comes to that kind of stuff, never get what I pay for, and so. I was really excited about some stuff for that. But anyway, that's always been my strategy. And so Stormcast just didn't really do it for me in that regard. I never felt like everything was cheap and spammable. But after looking at some of the Vanguard stuff, I mean, they do have lighter troop options that do cool things. I'm curious, and if you're a Stormcast player, I would love it if you left it in the comments, and I'll see it later. Obviously, I can't see the comments right now. Why don't I see Vanguard more? Like, and I see it only if it's being built with a skew, like it's all the Vanguard wings shooting, to infinity stuff that just wipes armies off the board. But I never just see it kind of splashed in. I'm kind of curious as to why. So if anyone can help out with that question, I'm very interested to know why. I know part of the answer is just in terms of like durability, and like it's hard to beat a Liberator with a shield for a battle line unit. And so like hunters having the gun is cool, but having a Liberator with a shield is still probably better, which I think is a shame. But I get it. I kind of run into the same thing. That's actually why, when I bought this huge load of Warriors of Chaos, or I guess Slaves to Darkness now, all of the Chaos Warriors had double hand weapons. They were built and primed, and I was at a point where I was like, you know, these are just primed, and I have all the bits from the guy, the last owner. It's like, so I could pull off all the arms and put shields on them. It's like, but honestly, I don't care, and I don't want to go through that work. And everyone just runs shields, so I'll do something different. Again, different is my catchphrase. And so yeah. But I want to know, like, is there a reason why, I don't know, Vanguard stuff just doesn't stand out? Like, it doesn't make its value so apparent that people want to try something different. But maybe it just takes time for meta to adjust. I know, like, it feels like they've been out for a while, but they're fairly new models, I believe. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to seeing them around more often. Missed some gold spots earlier. I'm trying to decide on what I want to do with that black kind of spike thing coming out of his back, like color-wise. I'm just going to keep it black, I think. Maybe. I want to do metallic because I want the chain on it to stand out. That's all right. Like most things, I'll just figure it out as I go. It is painting with Doug Griggs is just figure it out as you go. Oh, time to care. Okay, I got Nuln oil. I'm gonna throw some Nuln oil on the base of his robe here. And friends, this whole thing, like I said, is just an experiment. I don't have the ability to read comments quite yet. So if you're commenting, I apologize. I can't see it, but I will see it when the video is published, and I will respond to you then. Okay. Just throwing some Nuln oil down. Need to get the robes really dark and then build them all the way back up. Anyway, so yeah, I was just saying I finished the start collecting Vanguard video. Got it all ready to go. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm actually going to start uploading it to YouTube and schedule it out for Friday. So I can get back onto my regular release schedule after all the craziness of this last week and a half. Just a family stuff and losing a pet and all stuff like that. So trying to get back to normal. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm making a huge ass mess of this guy. I'm one of those people, like, I'm not a great painter by any stretch. A lot of people who disagree with me on that, and you know, because everyone just paints at a different level. You know, we all want different things out of painting, which is not easy for some folks to be okay with. For me, this is just kind of like a therapeutic release, and so that's why I just chip away, Bob Ross style, you know. Happy little chaos sorcerer and such. Okay, well, I think that's about all I can do for a little while until some of them dries. I think it'll turn out cool. Just do another layer of Celestra Gray to bring up the color back on the robe after the shadows are gone. And I didn't see it until I put the wash on, but there's actually a lot of wrinkles, which is great because it adds, you can see a little bit there on the stream. It makes it really easy to build color back up when there's actual like detail. A lot of the older models they were just like flat panels. It's just like a tablecloth, you know, it's just like super flat, no wrinkles. It's like, well, it makes it very hard to build and blend and stuff like that if there's no visible direction for it. Let's see here. Oh. Well, let's see here. Brent sent me a picture. It said, good idea from the comments, and the picture won't load. Of course, technology just repulsed by it. Or it repulses me, however you want to word that. Oh, here it goes. Those, hold on. I think you guys are freaking brilliant. So someone suggested that I open another tab in my own YouTube thing as a viewer to watch it, and then just kind of like put up with the delays. So let's do that. I would actually love to respond to some questions. Oh, there we go. WYR Forging episode 8 live stream. Haha. See, this is one of those things I would like sit around later and think about to myself, but I can't come up. I'm too nervous about everything else working. I did do quite a few checks on other stuff beforehand. I was really worried about the camera not working for some reason. Let's see. Okay. Now let's see if I can watch a video and stream a video at the same time without my computer exploding. Buffering. This is like super sexy, so thank you guys for hanging in there. I'll have it sorted next time. I just heard the audio kick in with my earbud. There it is. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna pause. Well, I have to keep the video going right now. Okay. Okay, I'm just doing this once as a test. Someone reply back to me so I can make sure it's working. Wait for it. Hold. Ah, okay. There we go. Like I know there's a way to do this when like it's built into the screen so it shows me in real time. And like I can see it, but I have to like request access to get it. And so this is the derpy way of having several tabs open. Cool. Okay. Well, you know what? I got it there. I got about half an hour left. So friends, hit me with questions. Let's do this. Q&A on the fly. Also, I noticed there's actually a hell of a delay between when I say something and when it pops up here. That's actually super good to know. It's like a solid 8 seconds, which is great. Gives me time to like think of a cool answer. Jez Hunt says he's not an AOS player, but he thanks me for the stream and all the stuff that I do to make the lore interesting. Hey, dude, you're super welcome. It's a lot of fun. When AOS first came out, people were crapping all over it because they killed the lore from the old world. And while I respect that opinion and absolutely see it, I think they just offered something new instead of just straight killing it. So yeah, I'm super glad that you tune in, even as someone who doesn't play. That's awesome. I respect anyone who just kind of gives things a try. And Joey Gold Coast responded with my life motto. He just simply said, "Hey, if it works," and a smiley face, which is phrases like that are pretty much the bane of my wife's existence. Right? Should we do this? No, what we have right now works just fine. I'm just building up some here. Okay. Lady Chicken, love your videos. Do you think Slaanesh is going to get a spotlight in the lore and models? Oh, dude, totally. If you follow the Malign Portents short stories that have been put out by Games Workshop on the Malign Portents actual site, Slaanesh actually made a really cool appearance where they had what I'm assuming is Warriors of Chaos of Slaanesh, but they describe some units that don't exist yet. And so I would strongly recommend, if you are Slaanesh minded, go check that story out. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So as far as I don't have a timeline or anything like that. I assume it'll be this summer. Probably just in time for like GHB rules and stuff like that. Like points updates and things like that. That way I don't have a book out that gets immediately adjusted. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Let's see here, what else I got? Jez Hunt. The old lore is still there for anyone who wants it. Yeah, totally. Did you used to play Warhammer before? Oh, Warhammer Fantasy before? Yeah, actually I did. So I actually, when I was but a wee lad, my grandmother went to a hobby store that was closing down and picked up a bunch of models just because I used to like building like World War II stuff as a kid. And so she's like, "Oh, Doug likes models," and grabbed them up for me, not knowing that they were part of a game which I found another hobby store that was doing stuff, and joined right in. And so I actually played a little bit during 5th when I was really young and like way too young to afford it. And then left for a while and then hopped back in during 8th as a college grad, where I still couldn't afford it, but had a lot of fun. And so I played 8th, played most of 8th. I loved the end times. The conclusion of it, I was on board. I was exhausted by the end of it. I played High Elves all throughout 8th, and had a great time with them. Let's see here. Do I have any thoughts on the next AOS release? Rumors point to Sea Elves. Yeah, they certainly do. That seems to be what G-Dub is certainly hyping, right? They're trying to build their own hype train, and that's respectable for them. I was just telling guys in my local group, I'm sort of on the fence about the Sea Elves thing, and not because I don't want them to succeed by any stretch. It's one of those models that when you describe it to me, right? Sea Elves, just that, like a sales pitch. I don't see what the design team is kind of going for, and so I need to see models to kind of be sold on it. And so yeah, I mean, I have a lot of excitement. I know they're going to release something cool. I hope with all my heart that it's like Carriage and Overlord's cool, where it just kind of like blows you away by how neat it is. So yeah, I mean, like, I think it's going to be Sea Elves next, by all stretch of like just how they've been kind of doing their rumor cycle and things like that. But I'm kind of reserving judgment until I actually see some models. And what I'm really excited for, and I did say this earlier to my friends, what I'm excited for, when you say Sea Elves, I don't think of models. I think of colors. Like I think of coral and new color schemes to kind of explore, which I'm very excited for from a painting perspective. Because that definitely excites me more than kind of the model stuff, which I don't have a vision for. But the color palette, I think, can be extremely exciting. So let's see, Alex Chavera. I am building a Seraphon army, starting with 2 start collecting boxes. Do you have any suggestions of ways to make a narratively accurate army that doesn't include a Slann? Maybe they look for their Slann. That is actually super legit. I didn't see it when it came out, but someone, a user, directed me towards a GW response to a question. Someone asked Grumbrindle, whatever he is, the actual white dwarf. You can write to him as part of the magazine, and asked if when a Slann creates a Seraphon from memory, do they fade away over time, or are they like pretty permanent? Like, are they actually a being of their own existence? And their answer, which I wish was just in the frickin' battle tome, was to say that they're pretty independent. When they kind of gain sentience, so they don't even know what they are until they're kind of cut and see starlight coming out, which is pretty cool. So yes, having a race of Seraphon that are looking for their Slann absolutely thematically makes sense. And I think it's very cool, especially because, I mean, there's so many cool things about Seraphon that I wish GW had gone into a little bit more. I think they focused too hard on the secretiveness of the army and missed the part where we were supposed to get some substance. if that makes any sense. Like, if you tell too many secrets of an army, it's not secretive, and you can't market it as being secretive. If you don't tell us anything, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with it. It's kind of, it's kind of the Alpha Legion conundrum if you're a 40K player. But to directly answer your question, that sounds awesome. I would read that story. Let's see here. Was there a pic of an old school water troll in that rumor? I don't know. I'm not sure. See here. How's your work schedule? From Sherwood Baker. Got time for games with subs? My work schedule is insane right now. I work for a small medical technology firm, and our business doubled while one of our folks left. They moved away, and so I have too much to handle right now. So probably not for a little while, but after that, yes, please. I game anywhere I can. I do warn you, I'm not good at this game. If you're watching American Dad, there's this time where the dad's talking to the son. He's like, "You're a loser. You lose at things," and so that's how I feel when it comes to my AOS. We'll call it career. The first game I played against a viewer was my now good friend Jack, who's a friend of the show and has been a huge source of hobby inspiration for me. He met me and he made the mistake of thinking that I was like, legitimately good at this game, and so he brought the Stormcast list where it's just all shooting like crazy, and he absolutely beat my face into dirt, because at the time I was playing Stormcast as well, but I was like, oh, I read this book and it said that Vandus brought these units, so I brought these units and I painted them gold. You know what I mean? Like super fluff bunny. And he beat me like a baby seal. So I'm just warning you, because I think you're one of the comments that I saw that went to that local tournament. So I'm assuming you're probably better at this than I am. Let's see here. Yeah, Brent said that the next logo we saw was the Deepkin one. Should be out in a month or two. Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of what I was figured. They've just kind of changed from where they used to just like release things a week ahead. Now it's like a month, but it seems extravagantly done because every other company in the world releases information earlier. Lady Chicken Sword, are battle tomes needed since you can download rules? Since you're new to this, so you can download the rules for any unit, any model in the game. You can get their rules online for free. What the battle tomes are, it's cool stories about the army to get you kind of pumped and in the zone and kind of understanding why they fight in this game, as well as some unique rules that say like, hey, if you take only let's do Seraphon. I can't remember if that was your example or not. You get these special rules in addition to. So it's just kind of a way of just kind of doubling down your interests. So you can always try it for free with the War Scrolls Online, and I highly suggest you do and have a blast with it. And then when you really decide on an army, just go ahead and invest the battle tome. You get some really cool stories, some beautiful art, and that's kind of their role in all this. Do you have social media space? I do have a Facebook page and an Instagram. The problem is, here's my thing with Instagram, okay? This is my old manness coming, and I'm gonna like set phone reminders for myself. I just forget that it exists. I just never think to take a picture. Like right now, before I did all this, I was gonna take a picture of me painting, and I was like, nobody wants to see that. So I always forget. But yes, they do exist, and they should be linked. I'll make sure they're part of the Facebook page or the YouTube page. If you go to the main 2+ Stuff homepage, you should be able to link to them at the top there. Let's see here. Alex Chavira. Would they be, talking about the Slum, would they be effective though without being able to summon? But I agree about your mystery statement. Yeah. Well, the cool thing is, if you take the Seraphon rules from the General's Handbook 2017, they can do this really cool teleport thing where it doesn't actually require a Slon. So they can play a very heavy movement game, especially if you focus on skinks and things like that, and never put a Slon on the table. So, yeah. Jezlin says winning is overrated. Failing in comedic disaster, but thoroughly enjoying yourself is where the cool kids hang out. That is epic. Okay. I think I'm caught up. It's kind of strange. There's like a 10-second delay, and so I don't always see when it's gone down. The clicker's gone down. Brent says losing rules. That's absolutely right. Let's see. Alex says, I hope Idoneth Deepkin will be more units than Daughters of Cain. This is kind of where I'm confused, because if you look at like Carriage and Overlords, when they got released, they weren't huge. Like, they're not a huge faction. You know what I mean? Almost everything's a multi-kit, which is great, or at least a lot of options in a single kit, which is legit. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that one. I wonder how many kits they'll put out for a single new faction at once, even if it's a multi-week one. Because I mean, from what we've seen from the Maggotkin, the KO, and the Daughters of Cain, like, even if they do 2-week whatever releases, they really only generally put out like 4 to 6 kits. I mean, I don't know. I call you agree, Shade. Just snapped. That is unfortunate. So yeah, and Alex says, I played Wanderers, so movement shenanigans are familiar to me. Yeah. The Seraphon stuff, that is the thing we're talking about. It's legit. Like, I played a game against awesome guy named Josh, and I had assumed that the movement shenanigans were related to a Slann. He didn't bring one, so he basically just beat me on turn 2 of a game because I moved away from an objective, and he just literally just walked right up and sat on it. And that's all he needed to do. So you can catch people, not just catch them off guard, like aha moments, because those aren't always the most fun, but just those things where, you know, people don't see the main threat of the Slann, you know, the thing that everyone's been told to be scared of, and so they let their guard down, and get absolutely stomped. Take some cool green shade. The way I get my my warp flame that I do is it's just white with a couple washes of Colia green shade. It's actually my favorite paint is the green shade, just because it has a cool like aqua teal kind of hue to it that nothing else really has. So let's see here. Alex says, talking about movement shenanigans. I do that with a huge block of Eternal Guard buffed with a rerolling 2-up save. GHP abilities getting it. Yeah, they're super nasty. And the one trick pony shot that those guys can do. Oh, is that Glaive Guard? Don't they have a bow guy that like once per game they can like mega shoot those bows, whatever? Yeah, moving those guys around and just like eking out one of those shots in your opponent's face and then not being there for a counter assault. It's pretty good. They were a faction that, like, actually when I did the review of their allegiance abilities, which actually I need to get back into at some point. Yeah, -3 run. There it is. Sick. When I did the review of those allegiance abilities, I got a lot of pushback because people are like, no, they're not that good. They're just not as good as you make it sound. I was like, I don't know. I think I just like, always go back to my time when I played War Machine for a little while. And in War Machine, like, you lived and died in the movement phase. And maybe that's not true here. And that's fair if it's not. But I just, like, I can't get that out of my head where there's so much power in being able to move a 30-man unit, which even if they're not good at what they do, like, you know, Marauders are not really good at anything, but nobody wants to spend a turn chewing through 30 Marauders when they could have been, you know, killing something else. It just sounds so good. And so, yeah. It's just hard for me to kind of imagine people, you know, poo-pooing them. Alex says, I took out a Vampire Lord on a dragon in one turn. Yeah, dude. Actually, I had in my possession a bunch of Wanderer stuff, and I was like really considering like diving deep into them. And I was just like, no, at the time I just really wanted to focus on the chaos stuff, and so I let him go, traded him off. Brent believes in Wanderers. I believe in you. Let's see, okay, so Sherwood Baker says Stannis Baratheon. I'm not familiar with that. Free People's Army with Carmine Dragon Centerpiece. I'm not familiar with Stannis Baratheon and Carmine Dragon. Are those Forge World models? Carmine Dragon. Or is that, is that like an artifact? Alex said that after he, I guess you guys can read it too, but after he stomped the zombie dragon, he got stomped himself by a bunch of skeletons. Yeah, no, actually that's actually my point, where you know, a lot of those guys who aren't very good individually, when you stack them up, they get super nasty, and like skeletons are a perfect example of that. Like, no one's ever been as scared of a skeleton warrior. People crap their pants when there's 40 of them. And rightfully so. Oh, Game of Thrones. Yeah, I never would have gotten that. Never in a million years. It's not that I don't like Game of Thrones. I just couldn't get into it. Like, I'm nothing against it. I don't know. I'm surprisingly, people are actually surprised when they hear this, but I'm not really a Tolkien guy or a Game of Thrones guy. Which, you know, some people are like, oh, it's a requirement in this hobby. No, I mean, no one's ever actually said that to me, but people act like it. Let's see here. Idoneth Deepkin. Yeah, a lot of hype going. You dig it. Yeah, Wanderer Heroes only have 5 wounds. Yeah, and that's a huge thing. I'm trying to remember. I was looking at pricing out a Moonclan Grot army, and don't they have a hero that's like 4 wounds or something like that? I just remember like thinking how many times in the last month that I've played a game where I took like a D6 mortal wound hit, and just like how sad I would be if my general just got deleted. And like I don't know how Moonclan Grot players live with that. It's that fear. It's just always there. Just doing some highlights on my bro man's face. One thing I don't like about this light that I have right here is that it has like almost a slightly fluorescent hue. And so when you first put paint down, it makes the colors look super like garish, like they don't match. But the second it kind of like dries a little bit, the color kind of fades and actually turns out looking good almost every single time. So my light forces me to be patient with myself. Okay, comments. So here. Yeah, even the new shaman only has 4 wounds. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, sad panda. Let's see here. 12 wounds of Scar Vet on a Carnosaur is much better. Agreed. Chief Canuck says that the Spider Fang Grots are where it's at. I want them to be cool. Like, I mean, like, they are objectively cool. Let me grab my, sorry, I'm just grabbing my paint here. They are already objectively cool. It's just a matter of like, I think whenever we get a battle tome for them, their synergies are going to have to be incredibly important to kind of compensate for the low model count, low unit count. Although I guess if you built like 1,000 variations on that, the Mega Spider, whatever he is, you would actually have several units, because I think you can build it like 3 different ways. It's actually pretty cool. And I think that would be super cool to see. I mean, here's the thing. I want some feedback on this. I think more so than death, I think destruction needs some time in the light, because part of it to me is that death, it was very easy to see that like it could have all been Nagash's kind of direction for the army, but destruction is so unique because there's so many different kinds. Like ogres are so vastly different than orcs, and so vastly different than grots. And so when you think about like the different motivations for why they all fight, like they kind of drop this little interesting bomb of Gordrak being the prophet of the wall, which is such a cool title. Like it makes me immediately want to go buy an Ironjaw's army. But at the same time, like they didn't do anything with it, because you have Beastclaw Raiders who are out there just like, and we acknowledge that he's the prophet, but we're still just gonna walk around in the snow. You know what I mean? Like where they have so many cool things in their own right, but they don't tie together. And I think it's just a bummer. What I really want is just like a super cool, like, just kind of a unified vision. Like I want to see, Moon Clan Grots to be like, we are the people who, I don't know, we're the Berserker Vanguard units of the Wall, right? The great mega Wall that Gordrak's doing. So we have the fanatics all hopped up on shrooms, and we go out for it. We're the first wave, right? Because we're the most zealous, and we're the greatest, and we love Gorko Murko more. But that would give them a chance to kind of fit into the great wall that he's the prophet of. I think that kind of stuff would be cool. But right now, it's just like, what I don't want is just another faction that is just kind of there, right? Like the Beast Claws were. Or the Bone Splitters are. Bone Splitters are super cool. I actually had a really nicely well-painted Bone Splitters army. And but I lost interest because they don't fit into, like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't included in any stories. And they had no clear direction of how they fit into the greater wall thing. Because once you saw Ironjaws come out, I was like, oh, well, they are immediately cooler. Because they just have a vision for what's going on. Let's see. Okay. So someone agreed with me. Destruction is agreed. A hot mess, Brent. Again, like I wish that they would just like double down on this like Prophet of the Wall theme and just like make everything an extension of that, because that would be so freaking cool. Because it would make them a threat. Like everything we knew about these armies beforehand was just like, orcs could probably wipe everyone out if they got on the same page, but they keep infighting, and that's what keeps the orcs down. Okay, that's a super cool story. Show me that. Show me what the same page looks like for some of these factions who are all about Gordrak and the Prophet of the Wall. Because that sounds baller. Alex says, I love 40k orcs, but in AOS, they just don't call to me. Totally. And I'm the exact same way. Like, I love orc stuff in 40k. I don't play 40k right now. If I do, I have the Tzeentch Demons. I'm just going to port over. But yeah, I just wasn't gripped by orcs the same way. Like I said, I just want more of a vision. AOS coach, I agree that destruction needs some love, but death needed it more. Now give destruction love. That's fair. I mean, honestly, at this point, like, it doesn't really. We can debate which one should have gotten it first, and that's, who cares? It was given to death, and that's cool. And I think it syncs up really well with the Malign Portents campaign, which we are enjoying as a gaming group, and you should too. Just get a little more wash on this guy's here. Usually do 2 rounds of wash with a Kolya Green Shade on the Sorcerer hair, on Warp Flame, I mean. Let's see. Alex says, Order has Sigmar, Chaos has Archeon, Death has Nagash, but Destruction sort of has Goradrak. Yeah. And that's exactly what I mean. If every faction pointed towards Goradrak being like, that the title Prophet of the Wall meant something, he would kind of escalate in importance to those other characters. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Would love to see some humans sit under destruction. Yeah, I believe it was me and Brent were talking about that, where there used to be cool stuff in Warhammer Fantasy Battles way back in the day, where it's like, here's humans that are normally Empire models working for vampires, because these are like the thralls that live in Sylvania, and that kind of cool stuff, where like you'd have armies that merge together for narrative purposes. And I was really excited when we saw, what was the first one? I think it was the Sylvaneth book was the first one that did it, where you took different armies and put them together. Like Sylvaneth have a battalion where there's Stormcast in there, the ones who are carrying Alariel's seed pod thing. And I was like, yes, it's finally happening. We're gonna get this cool stuff where we can have mixing grand alliances, basically. And they might not get any rules from their main faction, but they'll get cool, battalion buffs and stuff like that. Never really happened. But I mean, the fact that they did it once means that they could do it again. I just don't know when. It's hard to imagine many people working for Nagash who aren't dead. And that's, at the end of the day, I think that's why they kept Flesh Eater Courts out of that book entirely. Was just, they're presenting Nagash's ego is so big that it is hard to fathom anyone living working for him. I was really excited, though, for the potential of Flesh Eaters to get some kind of, like, really what I wanted was like some kind of like residual buff. You know how like I was talking about how Pestilence got a small buff from Maggotkin? Like, they got an option. You don't have to take Maggotkin, but it's there if you want to do it. I feel like the same thing should have and could have been done for Flesh Eater Courts in some capacity. Even if it was just something simple, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good description. I can't think of it right now. Rob asks, what's the experiment? Human experiment? Yes, human experiment is what we're doing right now. Waiting for my duder here to dry. I'm going to write some scribbles in his book. Lady Chicken Sword. Mercenaries could bring units. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, a mercenary kind of function would be really cool. Plus, I mean, I think it would be great if there was a mercenary function. Like, say it was just free guild swordsman, something super basic. Just giving people like reason and modeling opportunities to make cool things. Like, what is an undead, a Land of Shyish free guild gun company look like? Like, that would be so cool. Let's see here. Would love to have seen Flesh Eater Courts get the spell lore by AO Sketch. Yeah, totally. That would have been so nice. Joey says, I would love to see Nagash have human element to the army. Yeah. You brought up the recent novels. The Nagash Undying King, where he included human elements, I think was a slam dunk. Right now I'm just scribbling on this book. Let's see. Oh, Alex, in case you're curious, FEC stands for Flesh Eater Courts. Seraphon needs it too. Porcelain has all the spell slots and nowhere to cast them. Yeah. I don't know much about this land, to be honest with you. I know... Oh, you mean like they can cast more spells than they really have available to them? Because that would make perfect sense. Yeah. I think that's the saddest. Like when they did that to Nagash when the books first came out, that was like he was the saddest panda. Just because of that. There's just like, I can fire 13 bullets in this gun, but I only can carry 3. Like, oh, well then. To the shelf with you, sir. Alex says everyone but Stormcast needs some work. Yeah, kind of hard to argue on that one. Everyone needs a little love. As a Tzeentch player, I want them to go back and take another crack at that. Just, honestly, you know what I really want with Tzeentch is I want them to get rid of the summoning mechanic like they did for Megakin and Khorne. Not that they got rid of it entirely with the Khorne one, but the fact that there are now alternate ways to summon stuff, I think is huge and awesome. Just super fun. This staff thing I pulled off of a Dark Eldar, I think of Venom. And so it's got these like weird alien heads, which I don't think they clash. I think that'd be cool. Clash us that stuff. Okay. Rob says General Skaven needs. Oh yeah, General Skaven needs stuff the most, in my opinion. Outside of Scryer, they're almost unplayable. Hopefully this year. You know what I would love to see for Skaven? I thought about this. I would love it if they got a Skaven book, just Skaven, boom, and inside of that, kind of like taking different temples for Sisters of Battle, not Sisters of Battle, for Daughters of Cain. You could take different clans, but all clans have access to clan rats. Something super basic. That way, you can have variety in how they play based on their quote unquote temple rules or clan rules, as well as having a central pool of units that they can all draw from. And then obviously after that, having this unit can only be taken by Scryer. Whatever the giant rats with the flamethrowers strapped to them are. I can't remember things right now, but you know what I mean? Like having that core set of options available to everyone, and then saying, these are open to everyone. Everything else is super unique. I think that would be good. And I mean, and then something GW does all the time, right? The Space Marine book is basically that way. Here's something every Space Marine can take, and then, oh, you're this certain chapter. Here you go. You get super flamethrowers or something weird. So I don't know. I hope for them. And it doesn't seem too outlandish based on how they've done other product releases. So I think it's actually one it's doable and possible. And I think it would add something to the armies and just AOS in general. Just a new kind of battle tone where you have variety and stable units in the same book. Let's see here. As a Skaven player, did them to go back and make them a viable army. Yeah, totally. And I'm really down for the way they broke factions up. I think some of them needed that. I think others did not. I think generally speaking, Skaven did not. I think they could have been, for example, like why break them up but not break up Seraphon? You know what I mean? Where they're both these kinds of factions that only sort of fit into their Grand Alliance. Like everybody uses Skaven, but nobody wants them around because nobody trusts them. And it's totally fine and very thematic, but at the same time, it's like, well, I don't know. So I'd love them. I wish there were just a few more factions that did the Seraphon treatment in terms of keeping them unified. and then just kind of going harder on the backstory as to why they're that way. I totally agree. Let's see here. Rob says, I think Stormvermin should be general battle line for Skaven as well as have other options. I'd be down with that. Yeah. I mean, what Stormvermin are the equivalent of Graveguard are to Skeleton Warriors, and I think that's fair. Like, when you take Legions into Gash, Graveguard become battle line. Like, that sounds legit. What I really want is for them to do Thankful and Bone Ripper as a generic Grey Seer on a, I don't know, hulking beast or something like that, so you can have a bunch of them. I think that would look so cool. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, sorry, to finish your post, have it as an option if you don't want to play 60 clan rats. That's exactly what I was thinking. And that's honestly, like, I built a bunch of Marauders, and I'm slowly turning my opinion over to play more Chaos Warriors in blocks of 20 rather than blocks of 40 for Marauders. Because it's the same number of wounds. They're 2 wounds each. Man, they're so much easier to move. So, yeah. Okay. Well, friends, my wife is home, and we are about to start dinner here in just a minute. So I'm going to hop off. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I figured out our trick for reading comments, so you can look forward to seeing more live stream stuff in the future, and that's very exciting. So thank you all. Special thank you to Brent for helping kind of coordinate on the back end. He was messaging me on my phone to help me figure out how to do this all. So I appreciate that. But I'm going to go ahead and set him down. And next time I do another video, I'll take a picture of him when he's all finished. And we'll just have a good time looking at him. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little mini WYR forging as we figure out how everything works. And I look forward to seeing you next time. I'll have a video out on Friday about Stormcast Eternal Start Collecting Box for Vanguard. And you all have a great night and happy wargaming. Bye-bye.